Hey everyone! In today's tutorial, I want to show you how to create custom masks so you can change colors seamlessly. I'm going to show you two different methods. One will be using only the tools in Photoshop, and the other will be using the Luminosity Panel by the Retouching Toolkit. So you'll be able to compare both results and see which you prefer. Okay, so on this photo, I would love to create a mask of all of the green area. So I want to change the plant color and enhance this. So how would I do that using only the tools in Photoshop? First, I would go up to the select menu and I would choose color range. So my cursor has switched to the eyedropper tool. So now I can choose the green color, and if I hold down Shift, I see a plus icon will appear next to my cursor. Now I can go around the photo, choose as much of that green color as possible, and we can see here in this window, this selection is white and everything else that will not be in the selection is black. So I can go around, and when I'm happy that everything is selected, I also have this fuzziness slider that I can tweak the selection. So it's a balancing act. I'm going to have to maybe compromise on what is inside of the selection. So let's see, somewhere around there looks good. So I'm going to press OK, and we can see the selection is now on our photo. So now I want to create a mask using this selection. So I will come over to the layers panel, and down here we have the group icon. And I always prefer adding masks to groups because I know I might have multiple selective adjustments inside the group. So it's just a better way for me to work. Now I will add a mask to this group by pressing this icon here. And if we go up to the mask and hold down Option on the Mac and click, I can see the mask has been added to that group. So already I can see there's some issues here. Up here at the top, this is just not added this green area to the selection. So I would have to use my brush, set to white, paint over these areas. And I can see here, particularly in the really intricate areas, it just hasn't added it. It just looks very crunchy. But let's see, without making any adjustments with the brush tool, let's just see what it looks like. So I'm going to turn that back on, and down in the selective adjustments, I'm going to add a curves adjustment layer. So in the green channel, let's just lift the greens. Let's add more greens and just see what we have. Okay, so for sure here I would have to paint over here, and absolutely here we can just see that the color is showing through from below. It's just not in the mask. I would have to then use a brush, paint over this area, over here as well. And I would absolutely have to remove these areas on her eyes. So that would be a bit time consuming. So let's see, how does the Luminosity Panel do? I'm going to come over to the group and delete this and come down to my Luminosity Panel. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the Working Mask tab because I'm creating a mask. And down here we have different ways that we can create our mask. I'm going to use Luminosity, which is going to give me a more refined result. So let's select the Luminosity button, and we can see in the Layers panel, a group has appeared called Working Mask, and inside there are different adjustment layers. Now I don't have to worry about that. These are just all there to help me create this mask. So I'm going to choose my color luminosity icon here. And this is going to switch my cursor to the eyedropper tool. So now what I'm going to do is I can choose any color on this photo and I can tweak the luminosity. So what is my goal here? Well, I want to increase the luminosity of the color that I want to make my selection from. So I want my greens to be as bright as possible. So I'm clicking and dragging to the right to make everything that is green bright. And I'm going to choose anything else and darken it. I'm going to drag to the left. So we can either click and drag, or we can go over to these sliders and we can tweak here as well. So you have the ability to do both. So now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to press the color luminosity button one more time because I finished using it. And I'm going to select my background layer, and I want to add a group. Just like before, I want to add my mask to a group. So I'm going to add this mask so it's below the Working Mask folder. and I'm going to come down to the layer mask button and just press on this. So now it's created a mask using those luminosity values. So let's hold down Option again and click on the mask. And we can see this is so much more refined than what was possible with the color range tool. We have the nuance of the color, of the luminosity. So let's add a curves adjustment. Let's just see what does this look like with a curves adjustment. Add some more green in the green channel. So I'm just going to lift up. So we can already see here it's all selected. Here it's also selected a lot more of these areas. So if I want to soften the effect, I can always go into the mask and down to feather this if I want to soften it, to make it, you know, even more kind of natural. But we can see already how much more refined that is than the color range. But I can do even better. So I'm going to show you another way using the luminosity panel to get an even more refined result. So let's delete the group. And if you do delete folders manually, then make sure you come down to the sync button here and press this so the tool knows what state you're in. There are buttons on the panel that will allow you to delete groups and layers, but this sync button will just ensure that you are ready to use the tool again. Okay, so like before, I'm going to use the luminosity button. I will select my color luminosity tool and I'm going to increase the luminosity on the green, and I'm going to decrease on all of the other colors. And instead of adding a group like I did last time, this time I'm going to go to the color luminosity tool, press it one more time, and we can see the image has turned into black and white. So I'm in the working mask now. I can now tweak this, refine it even more. So we can do that with these buttons here. We have many different options here. We can either use one of these curves, and if I go into the Gaussian and the linear, you can see how you can change the mask using those sliders. And we also have the levels down here, so I can increase the blacks. So let's see, let's go to the Gaussian, and I want as much of the green to be white. Let's see, and I want more of the skin to be dark. So maybe somewhere around there. And obviously each image is different, but you can see just how much control you have. You also have these buttons here. So if I want the midtones selected, if I want, you know, all of the darks to be in my custom mask, I can press that. If I want all of the lights, I can press that. So you have infinite choices here. So I'm going to go back to, I want my Gaussian. I want to bring back those areas in the plants to be white. And I think I'm going to bring the levels. No, I'm going to bring those across. So let's see what this looks like. Again, I will add a group below the working mask folder. I will press the layer mask button. So now I can create a custom mask. And if I hold Option, let's have a look. So there we go. So now I will go down to the selective adjustments. I will choose a curves adjustment, and let's see, how does this look? So I don't even have to move that curve that much. The mask is so much better. You know, it's so much more refined. I can see around the edges. So let's see, we can tweak the color even further. Let's make it all a bit cooler. I can go into my RGB. I can make it brighter, darker, and maybe a bit more green in the shadows. So something like this. So there's before, there's after, no brushing, no manual work really, other than tweaking sliders and pressing some buttons. So for me, that result is so much more natural. And another reason why I love the Luminosity panel is I always work on 16-bit files because it gives me the most flexibility. So the Luminosity panel will create masks at 16-bit depth. When I'm using the color range and it's creating selections, these are at 8-bit. So for me, I want to have 16-bit masks. So that's why I also prefer the Luminosity panel. So I hope you liked that tutorial. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments below. If you like the tutorial, please like it and subscribe for more tutorials in Photoshop. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.